Hey New Spring, my name's JJ Alderman. My family and I serve in Togo, West Africa. We're serving as missionaries, telling people about how Jesus can change their life. In fact, we go back 15 years ago, and that's when we started this partnership together with New Spring. And I want to tell you what God's been doing. He's been doing incredible things in West Africa. We started in this small town of Anejo, this town of about 40,000 people at the time, with very, very little gospel witness. In fact, Anejo is the birthplace of voodoo for the world within this 50-mile radius. It's an area that's dark. It's an area that, as you look back over hundreds of years, it's been highly influential. And it's been this area where people have never heard for the first time about a God who loves them, about a God who made a way for them 2,000 years ago. And so often when we talk to people, they'll ask the question, why have I never heard this before? Why is this the very first time that I get to hear about Jesus? So in those early days, it started by talking to people. It started by standing around sports fields, by walking from hut to hut and throughout the communities, and being able to share and asking a really simple question. If there really is a God, and He really does want to have a relationship with you, would you want to know Him? Would you want to have a relationship with Him? I want to praise God because over the last decade and a half, through our partnership together, because of your intentional generosity that has had ripple effects across the world, we now have 29 churches that have been planted. I think about just a few weeks ago, there's a gentleman who was led to faith in Jesus by a man who had been a voodoo practitioner. But this man named Django wasn't just any man. He was the most influential witch doctor in a community of 10,000 people. He was a powerful man. And when he learned about Jesus, he said, all of a sudden, as I started to hear about the gospel, all of my power went away. I didn't have the power that I once had, and I started thinking, there must be a greater power. There must be something greater than what I'm currently worshiping. And that's when he met Jesus. The day that he was baptized, he brought out his idols. Some of them were underground that he had hidden from even the people, his followers around him. And he brought these idols out, and the church people stood around in celebration as he starts pulling these out and breaking them and burning them. His son comes forward, and he starts to try to get in on the action, if you will. And he wants to start breaking these as well, and some of the believers say, no, you can't do this. He says, but Dad decided. He goes, I know Dad decided. You don't have a personal relationship with Jesus yet. And so you have to have that personal relationship just like your dad does as well. That same afternoon, Django's son also met Jesus and started worshiping and following him as well. Just a few moments after those idols were burned and the people around just stood in awe, Django was baptized, going public with his faith and saying, I too have decided to follow Jesus. The church people they're encouraged, and they still are, because they said, never did we know that something like this would ever happen. We've been praying publicly, literally every Sunday morning, God, pray for our government and our people and our school teachers and our community, and pray for the witch doctors. Pray that they also will follow Jesus. And so these believers have said, we have seen God transform that person's life. If that person can be saved, then anybody can be saved. The stories are continuing as the gospel's going forward. But I have to say, there's no way that we could ever do this alone. We do this because of your prayers, because of our partnership together in the gospel, as God is transforming places that are really dark on the other side of the world. We're so grateful. We're so grateful for what God's doing here and around the world. God bless.